Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure being with you all today on Beyond the Books. My name is Zaid Omimo Izzat, your host for today's show. Last week, we brought to you guys our very first talk show, the very first of its kind in ATBU, where we talked about love, life, and the line in between. And most of you all here agreed that having an academic life is as important as having the love life. So it's important to find a balance in between the both. It is in these slides we bring to you our topic for today, which is picking a spouse. With the insights of experienced individuals among some of us today, we are going to shed more light on the values, the views, and the vows of picking a spouse. Permit me to welcome our guests, Malam Adamu Ilyas. Is he here with us today? Malam Musa Wakili, our second guest for tonight. Please, is he here? A round of applause for him, please. And our third guest, Mr. Mape Panquat. Thank you all for honoring our invite. You're welcome to our show. So today we're looking at picking a spouse, and we all know that picking a spouse is beyond mere companionship. We talk about things like values, we talk about things like the views people share, and the vows. So, in line of the value in context of relationship, you agree with me that having shared values plays a crucial role in fostering connection and communication between both parties. So, what are these values to consider when picking a spouse, and what are their significance in relationships?
Okay, thank you. So, talking about values, I think it's important that I lead this distinction because there's a clear distinction between values and value. Values and value. And both topics are important, or would I say pivotal to this discussion today. So, values particularly talks about the principles, the standards, and beliefs that guide an individual. So, that is to say, every individual is guided by certain principles or standards in how he behaves, how he talks, and then what is a yes or a no for such individual. Now, it is very important that every individual it's very important for every individual to have values, that is to say, standards, to know when it is a yes and when it is a no. So, generally, values make up a person. And then a person with no values, I would permit me to say, is no individual at all. Because he doesn't really know what is a yes for him or no for him. And you see, it makes it so difficult when, as a lady, you are in a relationship with a guy who has no values. Because at some point, you would want to even help this person, but you don't know which direction the person is heading. Yes, you are coming this way, he doesn't even know what he truly wants. And that is it for the guy. So it's important that a guy specifically has values, and that should be an attraction for the ladies as well. Then also for the lady, I would also recommend strictly that a lady is also important for a lady to have values. This is because values set certain boundaries for her. And so you can't easily trample and you just trample on her or do whatever you choose to do because these her values will tell her when it is a yes and when it is a no. Absence of values, for instance, you could see in a situation where a lady has no values, she could be in a relationship, and I'll give an instance. Maybe the guy raises his hand and hits her. You know, she don't have value to know what is a yes and what is a no. And then maybe continue with this relationship, end up in marriage, and tomorrow she's in bruises or possibly in coma. You know, she wouldn't say she don't know, but there were no values on ground to guide her to know what is a yes and what is a total no. Okay, so just to draw conclusion on what you've asked, you know, these values generally they can be adopted Adopted in a sense that one maybe don't have value, and then he could learn from another person. Sometimes it could be through mentorship. That is, you look at someone you look up to, and the person possesses so much quality that you admire, so you could adopt some of these values. And then you could also adapt into values in a way that maybe you see someone who does what you like, but instead of just adopting what the person does, you also put in your own preference or what suits you best. And then the last category is you creating your own values or set of principles and beliefs. You know, when you create your own principles and belief or your own values, you would see that it suits your temperament. Okay, because when you have someone who is an introvert or someone who's an extrovert, he creates values that suit his temperament. So someone who is choleric, for instance, he whatever is a yes for him is what suits his own temperament. So to conclude on values, you see, it's important that you have someone whose values align with yours. Else you would have problem in marriage or possibly in the relationship. Now, example is this. You know, when I could have values for honesty, for instance, and then I believe so much that honesty is the standard. Anything below that, I am not tolerating it. And then I go into relationship with someone who don't have regards for honesty. You see, there's no comparability. You will see that there's conflict of values because I believe in honesty, and that person don't believe in honesty. So at the end of the day, you end up in with your heads down because that person does not believe in honesty. So that is what I have to say about that, particularly when it comes to values. And also, you could see sometimes even couples tend to have this clash of interests. This couple wants this thing, the other couple wants another thing. Personally, I did not mention I'm married. I'm happily married to my beautiful wife. And so, thank you. So something happened, and this is with emphasis to ethical values. You know, she was cooking in the kitchen, she was just frying some meat and all that. And then so I just came in and I picked the meat from, as she was frying, I just picked the meat and I was eating, and to me it was a normal thing. But to her, it was all strange. Like she found it all disgusting. Like, why would you do that? You know what she expects? She expects me to go and sit down. Then she brings the food in the plate, serve it properly, bring water, serve, oh, honey, all this kind of thing. For me, I'm this person that I don't mind, carrying the whole pot and bring it for us to sit down and eat. So I have that simplicity in values, whereas she don't see it like that, and that is ethical values. Then I made a distinction between values and value. Now, value talks about the worth of a person. Can I appeal to you that a guy doesn't choose to settle with a lady mostly because of beauty or love or more? Guys, will you agree with me? Mostly because of that value. Have you ever wondered why someone will be in a relationship with a lady for 5 years, 7 years, and then he meets another lady for just 3 months and he wants to marry? Have you ever thought why? He was with another for a number of years, he didn't even think of marrying, and all of a sudden he's with this lady for just 2 months and he wants to marry. Now there's this thing called value, and value is your worth. What he communicates or what he perceives as your worth. So for instance, how do you get this value or how do you attach this value? If you are in a relationship with a guy who is, for instance, a mechanic, he's into automobiles, right? And anytime you meet him, all you talk about is just you, food, and all these things that don't really relate to what he does. Believe me, he would not see the usefulness of that relationship. And in that case, value is not communicated. So what I will appeal to the house is whenever you are choosing a spouse or you're going into a relationship, try to know what the person wants, try to know what interests the person, then try to make studies or research, know something about it, so that whenever you engage a conversation on that subject, you will see how the person will respond even more. So if you have someone who loves football, for instance, and you're a lady, you don't like football, I would encourage you to know something about football. And that is how you will see when you communicate with him, communication will be more effective and it will flow even more better. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mappy. You point out the importance of value, and you've clearly shown us that value is very important when picking a spouse. Mr. Elias, in light of what he said, we all know that every individual have their opinions, their ideas, and views about different aspects of life. So, what are the key views to discuss with a potential partner?
Okay. First of all, let's make one thing clear. When it comes to picking a spouse, that means that person is ready for marriage.
Yes.
Now, getting ready for marriage is a separate thing. Then choosing the spouse is a different thing entirely. Reason because uh, we cannot do without uh, what our religion said about marriage. There's no dispute. Now, the challenge is more on the men. As a man, you have four things to look for in a woman. And out of that four, one is the most considerable. One is the most important. For a man, you're asked to four reasons you need to check when picking a spouse. First is her wealth. Second, her lineage. Third, her beauty. And lastly, and the most important, is her religion. Now, the first three are add-ons, are bonuses, as long as you have a woman or a potential spouse that she's religious enough. Now, these are what the book says. I'm sure both the holy books are agreed on this. Now, in our day-to-day pickings of a spouse, we don't actually put these four things into consideration. For the men, our eyes only see the beauty. The first thing you see in a girl is her beauty. That's the first attraction. And the moment you see that, you are satisfied. Ah, this girl fine. Abba, chicken. Magana carry. It's after the courtship started, first month, maybe second month, third month, then other behaviors start coming out. Then before you know, the beauty will start depreciating. You don't see the beauty again. Why? Because you get to know her and she's not. She's just behaving in a way. So the problem always starts from the men. We are the cause of most of the problems. I'm saying this because it's true. We are never straightforward when it comes to picking a spouse. Let's be honest to each other, with each other. Um, when we see a girl, all we want is to have a moment with her and talk with her. Then from there, okay, I like her. Then I continue. Now, the mistake here is what you need to see in a woman is first, how does she behave in the environment that she found herself in? Pick, for example, when university setting and the men and women they mingle around. They are classmates, colleagues, and friends. Her behaviors within her group or within her peers have a very impact on a potential spouse if he's looking. Men, we are always looking for spouse. So our eyes are always looking around. And if you really are interested in picking a spouse, then you get to see how she behaves around her people. Because if you remove the beauty, with time that beauty won't have the value our first speaker is talking about to go away. Doesn't matter how beautiful you are, but your behavior around people, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you behave, the way you ask or reply a question or ask a question, it always matters for us men when we're looking at you. So for us, it's not that difficult, depending on if you are ready for a spouse or not. Which most men were not ready for a spouse. We just said we want to have a girlfriend, but we're not really ready for a spouse. The challenge is more on the ladies. They have more difficulty picking a spouse than us men. If I should ask a question, what do you look for when you see a man, potential spouse as a lady? What do you look for?
Anybody?
It's quite difficult. That's why nobody is really sure. Uh-huh.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Yes.
How will you know that that person is honest?
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't know the person is honest, but you should trust that you'll be able to you should trust that you'll be able to expect whatever the person is going to bring. You get. And I think in terms of honesty, all of us, like outside of the marriage, we don't really show exactly who we are outside of the marriage until when we're inside. So I would say patience as well. Patience is there because if that person is not actually honest and that's not what you expect, you need patience to help subside, the expectations in your head. Because whatever it is that we do, we should always have low expectations because we are all humans and we don't expect all humans to be honest. It doesn't matter how good you are, you always tend to make mistakes one or two times, three or four times. You know what I'm saying? So honesty, yeah, but patience, seriously. Patience. I would go for the second one, patience.
Yes, you are very right. But
Yep.
do you have any idea how deceiving men are?
Do you have any idea how deceiving men can be?
So a man can pretend to be honest, patient.
Okay?
So, and he can do that for a very long time.
Okay, yeah, talking about that, I personally have an experience I would like to share if that's okay with you guys. Um, you see, I had a boyfriend, I would say. He was really, pretty honest. And to be frank, I wasn't really ready for any serious relationship. I wasn't ready to commit. Again. And then somehow it went haywire, but it's not his fault. It's absolutely my fault because I wasn't giving him what he actually wanted. I wasn't giving him attention. I wasn't given nothing. I was given nothing. So I went off with another one, and then, the other one did the same thing I did to the to the nigga. So
Okay.
after he did that, I learned. I learned that I actually what? Okay, so after that, I got to feel exactly what he felt. You get? And then after I felt that, I actually decided, okay, let me call him up and talk to him. But then, women with ego and, as they would say now, steez, you do not want your steez to pour and all that. So I didn't go for the call. So instead, my friend helped me to do that. So fast forward, now we're together and thinking about marriage
Okay.
and all that. Yeah.
We'll
So
get
I
back to
would,
that. Let's not
yeah. Let's
spend too
let's
much
just
time here.
pass that. So after that, I decided to become honest. So I would say honesty is a decision you make. You decide if this person is worth trusting. You get. But if you think that this person is not worth trusting, I'm telling you, there is no way you're going to trust the person or commit or even think about being honest. So yeah, patience and honesty, they go hand in hand.
Okay, she should come to the book.
Sorry, Lela, can you please come to the stage?
Okay. God.
Now, for us, for the ladies, I'm sure you have seen how difficult it is for a woman to pick a spouse. Now, a short story about I'm married too. So when the time came for me to pick a wife, I had I had three different scenarios for three different ladies, but that's a story for another time. But this my wife, it was in an instant. It just happened. After all the struggles, I couldn't get the one. I couldn't get the one. She just pop up, boop, and she just fill in all the blanks. But it wasn't that easy for me because she was so complete, and I was scared. How can a girl be complete? Yeah. So for the ladies, picking a spouse, you have to make sure the words that comes out of his mouth are, to a degree, is the truth. And don't be deceived by I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. It doesn't work. Well, for the men, don't see her physically. Yes, she's attractive, fine, but try to go deeper, deep into her and find out who she is. You are the one to do the study and the research the first speaker is talking about, not the ladies. So I'm sure we'll come back to this. The time is
Sorry,
moving.
can I say something? I'd like to say something. About finding out how she is. Actually, do you know that humans actually have the ability to hide whatever it is they do not want others to see? So I don't think that would actually work because if she wants to hide it, you won't find it. You won't know. Absolutely, you won't.
I think with time, all of those qualities get to to be known by the other partner. You know, you can't really hide character forever. Yeah. Malam Musa, our second speaker here mentioned something about when picking a potential spouse, you have to look at things like beauty, lineage, wealth, you know, something like that. Yeah. Do you agree with him? Do you think a person's lineage define who the person is? If I have a lineage of um, I, I don't know if I should use the word bad people or people that are not really liked by the society. Does it have anything to do with who I am as a person?
Okay. So there are two things I think we can look at from this angle. Um, the thing is, our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? He made mention of okay, people marry for, right, for these qualities, and these are the things they look for in a wife, right? Lineage, wealth, beauty, and religion. But then he said, I give you advice to go for the religion, less that things will be better for you. Because if you go for the other ones, it's just like you are getting dust, kasa, something like that, right? That's one of the things that he made mention of. So the thing is, lineage is important, right? And it's important for some reasons, right? One, societal, and two, the impact of lineage on a person's character. All right. In Islam, for example, right? Let me just put it that way. When the woman came to the Prophet ﷺ for mubaya, right? he asked them of la tushriku la tushriku billahi, and they wouldn't be, going against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in shirk, right? One, they will not steal. Two, and then three, they will not be like going, well, basically fornicate, right, in that regard. So there are three things, right? A woman, if she protects these three things, so, she's basically good to go. One, she's not going to associate any partner with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She's not going to engage in shirk, one. And two, she's not going to go against, her husband's rights on her, that is being fornicated or something like that. And three is she's not going to, indulge in, what is it called, stealing, right? So she's not going to sell people's wealth or something like that. Why am I bringing all this? Because you adopt a particular character over time through a lineage. All right, that's one. And two is what the society has shown. All right, this I'm taking from our traditional angle. Okay, okay, right. So we, the youths, actually have a thought of, yeah, she's not this. There's no problem. We can just go about that. But then the issue is, if she has a history, all right, of stealing, for example, in their family, all right, or maybe their families are not honest, or maybe their families are not generous, or maybe their families, they have this certain, what is it called, stigma attached to them, right? What the elders and what people see in the society is, even if not her, it might affect down their lineage. All right, that's that. Okay, even if not her in particular, she carries the gene of her family. She carries the gene of someone in her family. So now, why am I giving this instance? You might be married to a woman, and then she'll give birth to a baby that looks exactly like her third uncle. You understand what I'm saying, right? So I'm not saying directly like, okay, it will have impact on him in that regard. But what I'm saying is there are potentials of things going wrong, right? In knowing clearly that there are issues, there are problems in a particular family. So you are advised not to go in, lest that she can be a good person, no doubt about that. But what people are afraid of is it might be upon your children over time. And that's why you go for people that have best lineage, people that are known for goodness, people that are known to be generous, people that are known to be honest, right? So like you can't just go to a lady, even if she's honest, obviously, but her five brothers are not honest. Well, either way you are going to be siblings with them. Either way, sorry, not siblings, you are going to be in-laws, right? I don't know that. Anyways, you are going to be in-laws with them, right? And your kids are going to be their friends, and their kids are going to associate with them. So the thing is, I'm bringing this issue because it has to do with associative nature of life, right? So character by default is created to be learned through association. That's why they say, okay, give me a list of 5 friends and I tell you who you are. It's not about, you being a better person. No, but then, okay, now let me go into a bit of psychology or something like that, right? Now, if you look at, there is this thing doctors use, EEG. I think it's EEG, right? That they read they read the brain activity, right? So if you look at psychology-wise, like basically what they're saying is, ideas are not necessarily inside our heads. They are not. They are necessarily inside our head, right? We are thinking our thoughts and we go with them. So whatever I think about now, okay, that I'm thinking about now, right? It's not necessarily happening inside my brain, right? It's still here, okay, through electromagnetic, waves or something like that, right? So ideas are also living beings. They are just like, things that are out here in the society, out here in the air anyway, something like that, right? That's why you associate with your friends. You don't know over time, you just start doing things they are doing. You don't even know, because that's how habits are created, right? They are created to be imitated. So now if you have a lineage of bad individual, or maybe she has a lineage of some individuals that are bad in her life, right? Unless if you are saying you are going to cut off the relationship with everyone, but over time, things are going to manifest themselves. All right? And things are going to become, obvious. Maybe through your kids, maybe through your interaction with her over time, and maybe through, some other things that happen in society. And that's why it's advisable, to go for people that have good lineage, and they are known to be good individuals, so that you are sure whatever comes on board, you'll be ready for it. Yeah.
Very interesting. I feel like this topic is very, very broad. So, for our audience who are engaging with us live and are here today with us, if you have differing views, please leave us a comment and share your ideas and opinions with us. We're going to look at that. Our guest speaker, um, when picking a potential spouse, when a guy approaches you, what are that views that you feel like you guys are supposed to share? Maybe you guys are supposed to share the same views. It shouldn't counter each other. What are those things that you feel like it should be same for you both?
I would say when making a decision.
What?
When making a decision.
When picking a potential
Yeah.
spouse, yeah.
Yeah, when picking a potential spouse, yes. We should know exactly what we want. You get. Let's know what you want first. If you know what you want, then you bring it out to the other person. Talk through it. I think talking about something, they say talking about a situation, it's like more like solving it. You get. So if you sit and talk about something, and come up with a solution, that's like you finally decided this is what we want. I think that's what a relationship needs: talking, sitting down and talk. Let's have this conversation, not like, okay, listen, I'm done, I'm going, stops like that. Because mostly, I don't know, some of our women here, they don't actually do that. They feel like, I would say, their ego is taking much of space in their heart. They just feel like, no, you can't control me, while you actually need to be controlled. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes, because not completely though. You need to be controlled at some point when you're going out of control. Again, so sit and talk about a particular situation, and that's I think that's one key value for me. Seriously, let's sit and talk about this situation. And if I feel like I don't agree with this, you should think about how we're going to manipulate and come up with another solution that is not exactly this thing that I disagree with. So yeah.
So
Okay.
basically, it's just the first thing is identifying what you both
Yeah.
want.
What you both want.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mape. In cases of disagreements or differing views, what are the strategies to navigate them so you guys come together and have same opinion?
Okay, thank you. So you see, one thing that you need to know is sometimes you would think you have known your spouse all over, but believe me, knowing your spouse is a process. So that is to say, after relationship and everything, after you've vetted everything you want to know, when you marry this person, you begin to see certain things that you be like, wow, are you serious? So there was this one too, and there was that one too, and all that and all that. But one principle that would be very effective for such situations when there are differences in views and values is the ability to learn, to unlearn, and relearn. The ability to learn, to unlearn, and relearn. That is to say, when you marry, be prepared to let go of some of the knowledge that you knew at home before, or some things you've learned from your parents, or you've learned from people that you are convinced that it is no longer acceptable in this home. I hope you understand that. Just like I made mention of myself and my wife, that I just come to the kitchen, there was even this time that visitors came. So when visitors came, I was the one that cooked because sometimes I just help her in the kitchen. So when they came, I just said, okay, there's food. Okay, please, can I? And they said, yes, they wanted the food. So I was going to the kitchen to go and fetch the food for them. And my wife came and stopped me and said, no, she should be the one to do that, not me. So you see, these are some values that I knew, but I have to unlearn them. So that at least, since she is not comfortable with it, I have to unlearn such values. Then men specifically, most of the problem, as one of the speakers rightly mentioned, comes from the men, sincerely. Sometimes we are too rigid. We are too rigid in the sense that we believe what we know is what it is. And then nobody can say anything about that. But I feel you don't know everything, right? So you should relearn. What you knew is correct, but then no more. There is more for you to learn. And then generally, there's also things for you to learn as well. So just to conclude on your question, so I save time, if you want to sort out differences, value comes into place. There are things that you know it is a sure yes, and you cannot compromise. In fact, as a man, if you don't have values, as I've mentioned earlier, you have lost it already. That is to say, there are things that you cannot compromise. That is to say, aspect of your religion, your faith. I'm of a different faith with you, so I wouldn't know how it's done in your own religion. But when it comes to faith, for instance, aspect of prayers in the family, aspect of study of the word in the family, and all those things, these are things that you cannot negotiate or compromise them. Yes, when it comes to things like that. So, in sorting out differences, if she comes to your house and she's trying to make an influence to, regarding religion or things like that, you could stand for things like that. However, there are things that you should also lay low. So, have your standard, have your principle, things that you can stand for the sake and the benefit of the family. And why it is important for you as the man sometimes to have standards you hold on to is because of this. You know that men are very good with seeing ahead. Yes, a man can be here today but is thinking of 10 years from now. Whereas a woman is very good in thinking of now. So, for instance, if there's no food in the house, if for instance, if the clothes you are wearing as a man, sometimes you even wear, you don't even, these are not some of the things that bother you. The phone you hold, some of these things are not things that bother you. You are thinking about what happens 10 years from now, what happens if you're not around again, and all those things, you see. Whereas she is thinking of what you will eat, to ensure that you are eating with meat, to ensure that I guess you understand what I'm saying. Sometimes as a guy, you can be wearing one shoe, you will not even notice. But your wife, one of the first things she will notice is that one shoe that you have been wearing. She has that gift of seeing the present. Okay? Whereas you are focusing on the future. So in settling these differences, there are some things you cannot compromise, like what benefits the family in future. But for the benefit of today as well, there are some things that you need to compromise and let go, then everything will balance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Leila, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us. You may take your leave. Thank you. Please, a round of applause for her. So, in light of our discussion today, we talked about the value, we talked about the views in picking a spouse. You all talked about how it's important and how it's necessary to have shared views and navigating differing views. You also talked about identifying what you want in relationship, and in the course of doing this, we make promises, we make commitments, and we make our intentions known to our spouses. These are all the vows we make when picking spouses. Now, what does this vows represent in a relationship? Is it important? Is it necessary to make that vows? What are its significance in relationships?
Okay, so can I go? Well, okay, so I was fortunate to attend a wedding last 3 weeks in Jos. And but before then, when it comes to vows, right? When you're marrying someone, I am full of snakes. Yes, I am. You are full of snakes. Yes, you are. But then the reason for marriage, right, is so that we come together despite our differences, despite our habits, despite our, what the deadwood we have inside us, despite whatever negativity and positivity we have inside us, right? We are coming together to create something equivalent to a habitable environment so that kids can grow and society can blossom, right? Now, okay, now if you talk about vow, right? Okay, I was in the mosque, and then they sat down and they did the normal. So we do ours in the mosque. So we did the normal vow. Okay, saying so we agree he is good, we agree she is good, and then I'm giving it to you, and you accept that, right? But it's not that easy. What they are doing there is you are committing, mark the word, commitment, right? It's not running away. It's not being afraid of. It's not I can live whenever I want. No. You are committing to someone in front of the society that brought you up, in front of the religion, this is like the values that shaped the mind you have, in front of the people that have raised the standards and the values in the society you are. So it's not that easy. If you break that vow, you are not breaking only her trust. You are breaking the trust of the society in you. I'm not saying there are instances where you are not going to separate whatever, but that's not the case, right? What I'm saying is now in places where, okay, you are now committing yourself to vow. That's why this vow is important. That's why I'm saying, okay, I agree, you agree, let's do us apart. What they're saying generally is, I'm going to marry you. I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. What you all have here is stage game. But when we come to the table, right, my truths are going to come out, and your truths are going to come out. Now, are we capable of maintaining that truth and making sure we have something habitable between me and you that we can live with? That's where that vow comes in. So it's giving you a framework, it's giving you a reason to stay together. Because you are now saying, okay, because you have taken vow in front of God. That's why, apart from religion, marriage is given the highest priority in everything. It's a commandment of God, right? It's just like you are now taking a vow in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's exactly what it is. So it's not an easy thing, right? So it becomes part of, the trust and part of the process you go through life, burning your bad side for her burning her bad sides for you, so that you are going to be individuals that have understanding, that have commitment toward each other. Slight fight, I wouldn't run away. If I see something I don't like in you, I'm not going to run away. If I see something you're doing bad, I'm not going to run away. I'm going to stay. We fix it. Now, let me add something again. What is love, right? People say love, love, love. Like, it's not easy to love someone. It's not easy. Now, let me tell you what love is. Love is making someone the best version of himself without taking credit, without being jealous, without being envious, and you want them to be the best version of themselves. Why? Because in your eyes, that's what you want them to be. So, like, it's not an easy thing to manifest. Because as I'm saying now, goosebumps actually are coming up, right? Because I know in some sense it's not easy to do. Right? By nature, I don't want someone to be better than me. By nature, I want to be in control of my wife in some sense, right? But then love is, I make sure whatever she does good, I point it to her. And I make sure she becomes that version of herself that I'm going to be happy looking at her all day long. So now, will you do that to someone you're not committed to? You won't. And what will and will you do that to someone that once she makes something bad, you'll just be frustrated and then walk out on her? You won't. But it's not easy to manifest that. It takes time. It takes effort, right? That's why commitment in a relationship is key. There was a mentor that told me that if you are married, make sure you put the notion of divorce out of the window and close the window. It's not like it's not allowed, it is. But then, if you allow divorce to be lingering around the corner, How are you going to fix problems that shocks you to the core, that touches your ego to the core, that makes you vulnerable in front of her? You can't. By nature, I want to be spiritual. By nature, I want to be all right. But then in front of my wife, I know I'm going to mess up. And it's okay. Darling, I messed up. It's okay. Fine. I'm sorry. Let's fix this. You know? So it's vow is not an easy thing that people should joke with, because you're doing it in front of the God, in front of the community that raised you, in front of people that trust you. Will you want to break that trust just because you're angry? Will you want to break that trust just because she did something bad to you? Will you want to break the trust just because you have misunderstanding? So it's all about that, and the truth you say comes and bite you. Now, all like, okay, I'm not sitting here saying, okay, if my wife does this to me, I'm not going to do. It's not like that. What I say will come to haunt me later on in life. Okay, I say I'm okay. I'm going to be good to my wife. I'm going to be, but I'm going to be tested on that, and it's okay because once I'm tested, then it will. It's just like an iron. You have to hammer it over and over again before it becomes something good. And that's exactly what marriage does to us. It hammers us so much so that, man, well, it's fine, Sha. I'm still learning from my mentors.
You should get ready.
Thank you very much, Malam Musa. Malam Adamu, in respect to what he said, if your partner exhibits a certain behavior which you're displeased at that, maybe she doesn't take corrections and all, do you think you can still reflect to the vows you both made and endure?
Okay, let's go back to the grassroots. For us men, we are looking for peace. That's why we marry. Our wife is our peace. If we don't get that, then everything is just zero. Mistakes are bound to happen. Attitudes are going to show up. Immediately you get married, different type of person will emerge. And this is something people, okay, we were talking about this earlier with Musa and a friend. I'll be specific, not because, don't take it personal, please. But Malam Bahaushe has a certain behavior. You know, this title of Megida is really going over the men's head. I'm Megida, I'm the boss.
Ego.
Yeah, what I say, that's all. You don't have any opening to make mistakes. You just have to do it the way I want. If you really want to get that peace, then you just cannot be Malam Baushe all the time. Now, uh, I was telling Musa still that when I got married, I told my wife that probably, very probably, she will cook breakfast for me because I eat breakfast very early, 6:30, 7. And what I consider is to wake her up at that time to make breakfast. I think I'm selfish. So I took it upon myself to cook my breakfast. Now,
Ladies, can you wake up around 4:30 and make breakfast for your man?
now this is what happened. I did it a few times without, I didn't show any sign of whether I wanted to do it. I just come back from prayer, boil my water in the kitchen, go back, change my clothes, come back to the kitchen, fix something up. Oh, I check her fridge. If she has any leftovers, I prepare. One day, I came back from prayer, and she didn't go back to sleep. She was awake. She just asked me, "Are you going out early?" I said yes. She just went to the kitchen and prepared breakfast and kept. I didn't ask her to do it, but she did it. So what I did was thumbs up. Good job. Thank you. So subsequently, something started changing in our own behavior about breakfast. He said, as she said, do the breakfast with me or do it for yourself. So I didn't take it, Malam Baoshe will take it the wrong way when his wife told him, do breakfast for me. That's honestly speaking. Malam Baoshe will take it as an offense. So if you really want to correct the mistakes, then that understanding is next to tolerance that Musa is talking about. When you understand your partner, then some of the things that you think will anger you will not. Now, if your wife or your spouse did something that you don't really like that thing, and it's somehow, when we talk of the vow itself, it differs. Yes, there's a general vow you do in the mosque or in the church that take care of our health, roof over our head. These are normal vows. But the real vow are between you and me, are between the two of you. What do you agree to do between the two of you? Like I said, okay, I don't watch Hausa film, I don't watch Nigerian film, I don't watch Korea, I don't watch India, I watch animes. I love animes. You know. So, and they are my relaxation techniques. If I want to relax, I play, I watch animes. But it's so difficult to believe, but my wife doesn't watch any type of movie. What I observe is, does she like what I'm watching or not? I just have this eyesight looking at her. Does she like it or not? So that I have to change. So I'm always observant. Then she started learning too. Okay, is that something she's doing that I don't like? Then she started picking it up. So the best thing is understanding. When you understand your spouse, then you can tolerate whatever the person did, whether it's against the vow or not in the vow. For instance, you came home and the whole house is just dirty. For example, clothes there, shoes there, and it really hurts. Us men, we take that very serious. When you come to the house and it's all scattered, the best way to approach this is to start fixing the house. Just bring the ego down. Take the shoes to the proper place. Fix it yourself. She will see it and she'll be like, "This is not. He's not supposed to be doing this." Then corrections will come. But when you attack, even if it's something little, when you attack, it fires back.
Thank you very much. If we have enough time, I think we can go on and on about this topic today. Okay, Mr. Mape has a comment on something he said.
Okay, so he made mention of something that men love peace. Sincerely, I think I have to emphasize that. Do you know that a man loves peace so much that when there is trouble, a man can run away? A man can start trouble in the house, and women are good in amplifying whatever you start. So the trouble you bring, when a woman amplifies it and makes it a bigger trouble, the same man that started the trouble will leave the trouble, will run away from the trouble. And the way, I don't know, women are so amazing. The way women handle trouble, I wonder how they do it. I used to say sometimes, I'm not saying all women, I'm not generalizing, but sincerely, there are women that love trouble. They can be very peaceful, but when you engage trouble, it is definitely you that will run away. How did I know this? Have you heard of a case I think I heard of this case of a lady that left a relationship simply because the guy is just too nice? Have you heard of cases like that? That the guy is just too nice. That okay, you had that case. That she would talk to him sometimes. He doesn't rebuke her. He doesn't. A lady, she loves that that trouble.
I was a
But
victim.
a guy, on the other hand, he wants it so peaceful. He wants it so peaceful. Have you seen a man that would tiptoe to his house? Like when his wife is sleeping, he'll just tiptoe and just come and sleep. Early morning, he's out again. That is the extent of how much a man doesn't like trouble. In fact, he will start, but the trouble will do as though it will break his head completely. So men love peace. And ladies, if you truly want to have your man at the palm of your hands, give him peace.
Ladies, please give your men peace. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us here today. And the audience, okay, we have a question from the audience.
Hello, good evening. Please, and what's the cheat code to getting married early? I just want the cheat code. Like you guys are young, very young. So like you have any cheat code for like, you know?
He's asking for cheat code. Yeah, if you guys are married and young, if there's any cheat code to achieving that.
First of all,
Quickly, please.
a cheat code. Be nice and get ready to spend money.
Do you have money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Just to add on what he said, right? A cheat code, right? Okay. Let me come from an angle, a different angle. Okay. Do you know why in the universities, 500 level students generally have it easy with 100 level student female? Do you know why? No, no, no. It's not about being fresh. I know. Do you know why? You don't know, right? Okay. How many of you have watched the film Beauty and the Beast? Beauty and the Beast. Okay, yeah, sure. So let me explain the psychology of women from that film, right? There are, I think, four male characters, right? She's a princess, all right? There is a stupid guy, there is a Astok, there is a narcissist. I think it is Gaston or something like that. And then there is a beast. And she decided to go for the beast. Do you know why? Now, the thing is, what 500 level students have is they have false competency masked as confidence. Mark that word. They have false competency, but it is masked as what? Confidence. They have more confidence than anyone in the school. Why? And the young ladies, they have hard time trying to understand or trying to figure out real competence and false confidence. That's why they fall for the 500 level students that have, false competence. So they don't have competence in some sense. So now why am I bringing this? Is because the best way you can, so to portray on what he said, money and, be nice. Well, I will urge, be kind. Ladies don't like nice guys. They don't. And there is a reason for that. There is a reason for that. Nice guys don't have boundaries, don't have values to stand for. If you are nice, you accept whatever she brings to the table. All right? And that is why she goes for the beast. Because the beast has values and she thinks she can tame him and he will keep the narcissist at bay so that they are not going to take advantage of her. You understand what I'm saying, right? So now, as it is, you have to provide value to a woman and you have to be the beast. But then to her, you are going to be nice. That is actually what she's seen. Sorry, that's what she has seen in that beast. So she's able to tame him. To her, he is nice. But he is going to keep the stupid guys and the narcissist away. And he's generous to be shared enough. So it's like just be competent as a man and be kind. Tell her when she is wrong, still love her. Tell her when she has done something bad, still love her. But you make sure that she knows you have boundaries and she's not going to cross them. Because that will keep other people away.
We can really go on and on about this, but due to time factor, unfortunately, we have to end this. Now, to make it even, Mr. Mape, what is your cheat code?
Yeah, I think he made mention of confidence. Um, I think basically, like myself, my wife I'm an undergraduate. God willing, in few days from now, I'll be graduating from ATBU. However, my wife already has a master's degree. Yes, she has a master's degree. So what code can I use to cheat this one? So generally, I feel one thing that my wife loves about me, and I think is something that one of the speakers mentioned, is my level of confidence. Sincerely, one thing I don't have in me is fear. I can confront any situation and all that. And I don't know, there's something about ladies, they love this confidence thing. That is to say, if you are in a relationship and you are like the lady in the relationship and she's the guy in the relationship, she finds it not. I don't know if you understand. She likes that one that can stand up and then speak up for the family where the need arise. So I think that confidence thing was really there, but notwithstanding, my own cheat code specifically was the fact that I paid attention on seeing how I can make my wife the better version of herself, regardless of who she is. Yes, I always look up to her and then see her weaknesses. I could tell her you will do that and do that. I have a company, and I started a company with my wife. So together we are shareholders. And in order to encourage her as well, she has a master's degree in economics. So I voluntarily made her the CEO of the business. And after making her the CEO of the business, I do go and make further research on how a CEO should perform his duties. I'm an accounting student, so I will come, instead of doing it myself, I'll come and tell her, you can do this and that and that. And because of that, I'm seeing that my wife, before she was an introvert, she don't speak out, but today my wife can stand and speak and correct and do a lot of things. So sincerely, I'm proud of her.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we really have to end this interesting, beautiful conversation today. But please do drop your comments on all our social media handles at Beyond the Books, BOIATBU, on all platforms, X, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.